back-to-back races. I bloody love it. Let's have one last brilliant push before the summer break and hope that F1 can deliver after quite a lackluster Belgium Grand Prix. But with that said, can Piastri gain a healthy lead in the championship? Can Ferrari continue to pull away from Mercedes in the constructors? Who will have the next midfield masterclass? This is everything that you need to know for the Hungarian Grand Prix 2025. So as always, we start off with the important information. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, the big piece of information is the summer break. So of course, after the Hungarian Grand Prix, we will have 3 weeks off from basically early August to the end of August, where we'll have Zandvoort. What does that mean? Well, it means I'm going to be dying inside again, because it's basically the same as Silverstone to Spa, and that was agony. And now it's going to be the exact same thing again. However, once we've done that, we go into the groove of things again into the second half of the season. However, one of the good things about the summer break, this is normally when the silly season starts happening. So all of this stuff with Cadillac, any driver swaps that could happen, start looking around here. So keep an eye on a lot of F1 news, because there might not be any F1, but there definitely will be news around the whole F1 world. Then next up, we have the Ferrari upgrades I spoke about last weekend. And basically, the whole gist of it is Ferrari have confirmed that will be the final set of upgrades they bring to their car. However, the thing is, I don't think it's actually going to affect them at all, because every team basically now will be focusing on 2026 instead. McLaren have such a healthy lead, they don't need to focus on their 2025 car anymore. Mercedes want to get the regs right in 2026, so that means they're going to be looking at that next season. So yes, even though it is fully confirmed that Ferrari have stopped, most teams right now were looking also at 2026 instead. And then finally, can F1 actually race in the rain? So one thing coming into Hungary is obviously everyone questioning, well, what happens now if it starts raining in F1? Will they red flag it again? And the whole situation is, no, I don't think so. Hungary, I definitely think they'd allow them race in the rain. It's just a little bit unfortunate what sort of track Spa is. They are just extremely scared of Eau Rouge because of all of the accidents they've had there, which have been a lot of the time fatal, and that's why they're so cautious when it comes to Spa. So if we did get the same sort of situation in Hungary, I doubt that they would be stopping the race so quickly and waiting so long into the rain to go. And then any more important news that comes out during this video releasing and the weekend, I'll be putting down below in the comments. Now, a quick look at the championship, and we now have a 16-point gap at the front, with Piastri leading with Norris on 250. So yes, the championship is still wide open, but it's not as close as it was in Spa. And then actually looking on the constructors side of thing, we still have such a great championship battle for 6th to 9th. Those teams are all covered by only 8 points. So right now, honestly, heading into the summer break, pick a name out of the hat and see which team wins, because that is what it feels like right now. One weekend Haas look nowhere, then they're there the next weekend. Same with VCarb, same with Sauber. It's just absolutely phenomenal that even lower down the constructors side of the championship table, we are getting brilliant racing this season. Now, heading into the Hungarian Grand Prix, statistically, who has the most race wins here? And, well, if you couldn't guess, it's a name that comes up so many times, and I'm always so shocked at how many race wins he has at every single circuit, and that is Sir Lewis Hamilton with 8 to his name. 8 wins at a single track. It is absolutely phenomenal. He completely crushes the competition normally at Hungary. Absolute domination. And then I bet you couldn't guess who got most pole positions, and he actually one-ups himself. Lewis Hamilton again with 9 pole positions. Incredible. Will he be getting another race win or pole position? Most likely not. However, we did see when we didn't really expect him to get pole position, that's when he pulled it out of the bag and actually got one. So yes, I'm not expecting him to do anything magical, but just keep an eye on him. Maybe another top 5 coming after Spa's qualifying issues. He definitely had the pace in that Ferrari to get back into the top 10, and with a good strategy, it did work. And then finally, on the stats, Hungary last season in 2024 had 33 overtakes. So very similar to Spa. It's not the biggest overtaking circuit. You can get a lot of overtakes if it is a chaotic race. However, it doesn't look like it's going to be this year. So just keep an eye on that, because there's only really one area to overtake, and that's the start straight. But it should still be a decent race because Hungary, coming into the summer break, normally is where people really want to be pushing for the momentum heading into the next part of the season. Now, your session information for the Hungarian Grand Prix looks pretty easy compared to what it was to Spa, and that is because it's now a normal race weekend again. So what does that mean? Well, that means practice 1 and 2 on the Friday. On the Saturday, we have practice 3, the final practice session. And in these practice sessions, just remember, practice 1 for car setup, practice 2 for quali sims, practice 3 for the best race sims. So pick and choose which ones you want to watch. I'll tell you if there's going to be any development drivers or F2 drivers in the comments down below, as none have been confirmed for Hungary just yet. But occasionally we do get some there, so I wouldn't be surprised. Then later on the Saturday, we have the qualifying. Of course, that sets us up for the race on Sunday where everyone's going to start. And then finally, just the race on Sunday. But again, keep an eye on everything else going on the circuit, as there's always lots and lots to do. So now with that all said and done, let's head over to your weatherman, ZachGP. Good morning, Hungary. This is your weatherman, ZachGP, back with you for another weather report heading into the race weekend. And after that little will they won't they in Spa with the rain, can Hungary deliver on any crazy weather? Well, I can tell you, very happily or sadly, depending on how you're looking at it, it won't deliver on this. This has to be the first weekend for donkeys. So bloody long since I can remember a weekend where we knew basically heading into it that there wasn't going to be any rain. And why is that? Well, hey, on Friday, it looks like there's going to be highs of 29 and lows of 15 degrees with absolutely zero rain coverage at all. Then on Saturday is the exact same temperatures, so very, very similar on temperature again. However, this time round there will be a little bit of coverage of rain. However, it's only around 10%, so even if it did rain, it would be absolute drizzle at the most, and it is very much scattered about during the day. And then finally on Sunday, race day, there is a little bit more chance of rain, around 10 to 20%. However, again, 10 to 20%, that's absolutely nothing. I would be so shocked if anything changed and there was rain for Hungary. However, on the flip side, the race day is cooler. So what will that do for the cars, considering they'll all be racing in around basically 30 degrees before Sunday? Will Mercedes be faster on race pace then? Can Ferrari be better at qualifying? We'll bloody find out very soon. But that is all from me. Back to you in the studio. Thank you very much, Weatherman. And now it is that time in the video where we stop looking ahead into the Hungarian Grand Prix and we take a step back and look at the top 5 best moments from the Belgium Grand Prix. And coming in at number 5, we have to talk about the new record. So of course, heading into this race weekend on the sprint quali, Oscar Piastri managed to get the new track record, coming in at 1 minute 40.5, absolutely smashing the old record, meaning now Oscar Piastri has that record around Spa. Absolutely phenomenal from him, and by the way, that was just a brilliant lap from him. Absolutely dominated the rest of the field in that sprint quali. Then coming in at number 4, and then we have the rain controversy, where basically at Spa, they postponed the race because of bad visibility apparently at the start. Realistically, from what I could see at the track, it looked like they could definitely get the first few laps under go. Even if it was just 2 or 3 laps, then they could have red flagged it, then went a little bit even earlier than they went, because then they decided to wait the red flag out 30-40 minutes, and by that point it was absolutely bone dry practically. So they definitely screwed it all up this weekend with the rain controversies. Comment down below if you think they waited too long. Comment down below if they should just bloody put full wets on, or is that illegal these days. Then coming in at number 3, we have the Hamilton Masterclass. So Hamilton actually had quite a woeful weekend qualifying wise and sprint wise, but then he just got it superbly right on the race day. Again, he had brilliant pace, he was making overtake after overtake, and then he pitted on the perfect lap to switch over to the dry tyres. And what did he do? Well, he managed to get up into the top 7. However, sadly, because of his very aggressive strategy, he then couldn't get past Albon for 6th. However, 7th from right all the way from the back of the grid. Absolutely breathtaking to watch Hamilton this weekend on the race. Then coming in at number 2, and we have to talk about the Verstappen sprint race. Coming into this weekend, I did not expect Verstappen to be taking a win. However, he did get one in the sprint. Absolutely brilliant first lap from him, overtaking Oscar Piastri. And from that point, in his own words, he basically had to set 15 qualifying laps to stay ahead of the McLarens. And under all that pressure, he showed exactly why he is a 4-time world champ. Winning the sprint race, taking home McKee's first Red Bull win. Absolutely brilliant from Max all weekend. And then finally coming in at number 1, Oscar Piastri winning the Belgian Grand Prix. It looked like Lando Norris had it all covered, but then a bad rolling start for Lando Norris into turn 1 gave Oscar Piastri the lead, which then gave him the better strategy, meaning he could pit and lap before Norris, which meant Norris was 9 seconds behind. However, Norris then was on the hards, which looked like actually the better call, but then cocked it up himself. So who is to blame? I do think it was Lando Norris, as he could have had at least one chance to get back past Oscar Piastri. But now that means Oscar Piastri came first, Lando Norris second, with Charles Leclerc third. So now let's head over to the F1 predictions for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So heading straight into question 1 for the predictions this weekend, I have actually gone for, you might say, quite a boring top 3, but it actually is the exact same top 3 that we had in Spa, of Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. And the reason I do this is because Charles Leclerc, he's been looking fantastic in the Ferrari, and no doubt in my mind, Ferrari's still going to be looking better than both Red Bull and Mercedes heading into Hungary. Then with both McLarens, 1, 2, that's pretty self-explanatory. And also, Oscar's just been looking so good on form. Realistically, he got quite unlucky in Silverstone. He definitely deserved to win Spa. And I think that trend will continue because he also did well here in 2024. Then heading into pole position, same sort of situation here. I've gone for Oscar Piastri. Who will qualify higher? And I've gone for the differential here because Bortoletto has been brilliant in qualifying recently. But I really do think Hulkenberg's going to pull it out of the bag at a track where you really have to be proper precise and hit all of the apexes perfectly. Then will Haas get 2 cars into Q2? I'm thinking no, purely because it always happens one weekend where either Ocon or Behrman just don't have that pace in qualifying. Who will finish ahead in the race? Charles Leclerc. I've put him in my top 3. I very much agree he's going to do it here. Fastest pit stops, Ferrari, slap bang, as per usual. Will there be a safety car? I've gone for no, because guess what? It's Hungary. There's not too many crazy races here, unless it's raining, and it doesn't look like it's going to rain. Who will set the fastest lap? I've gone all in on Oscar Piastri this weekend. It will be him. Then on my 2 times chip, I have gone for Williams outscoring Alpine. Williams look really good in Spa. Hopefully they can continue that for in Hungary. However, it's more the case of I just don't have any hope in Alpine. And then finally, most positions gained by a driver less than 6.5. Again, I can't keep stressing this. It's Hungary. We don't get too many overtakes. I would be very, very, very surprised unless there was a massive difference in strategy from team to team if anyone got more than 6.5 overtakes. But those are my predictions for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Make sure to join the ZachGP League over on F1 Predicts if you want to get involved. At the minute, we have 200 people in it, which is very exciting. Here's the league code for all of you, and I'll put it down in the comments as well. Now, the Forfeit prediction this weekend. Of course, I got it right heading into Belgium. We did get Sauber points. Thank God. I actually got it from the person I didn't think would get it, Bortoletto. Gotta love Sauber points. They are just doing absolutely phenomenal this part of the season. So what will my forfeit be coming into the Hungarian Grand Prix? Well, if there are more than 2 DNFs this race weekend, I will have to do 3 wax strips on my leg and a wax strip on both arms. I'm really not looking forward to that, so hopefully there's not a lot of DNFs. But now with the predictions all done, let's now quickly head over to the ZachGP analyst to get the track overview.
The Hungaroring debuted in F1 in 1986, with Nelson Piquet taking the win. There are 2 DRS zones, 14 turns and 70 laps for this 4.381 kilometer circuit, so expect some very fast lap times around the 1 minute 10s and 20s, so get excited as we have a great weekend of racing ahead of us.
Thank you very much, Bear, and that is all from me today, from everything that you need to know for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Now, make sure, if you like this video, to like and subscribe. Check out the comments down below if I do notice any other news. Again, if you want to see more news, check out the F1 app, and you'll see all of the latest they have there as well. But that is all that she wrote. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your week. Take care, everyone.